July 1945. The air in Wiesbaden, still thick with the dust of collapse, now carried the heavy scent of official paper and disinfectant. Colonel James R. Newman, head of the U.S. military government's legal division for Hesse, adjusted his spectacles, his eyes scanning another dossier on his desk. His mission: unravel the Gordian knot of the Third Reich's aftermath, separate the innocent from the culpable, and rebuild a justice system from the ashes. Today, the name glaring back at him was Fromm, General Friedrich Fromm. The very name carried a particular weight, even in defeat. But it wasn't the general they were concerned with now. It was what was left behind. The initial orders from Supreme Headquarters, Allied Expeditionary Force, were clear: dismantle, denazify, demilitarize. Every German who had held a position of influence, every family who had seemingly prospered under the swastika, was under immediate suspicion. Fromm, a high-ranking general of the Wehrmacht, commander of the Reserve Army, fit the profile. To an Allied officer, steeped in the propaganda of a merciless enemy, men like Fromm were components of a brutal war machine. The wives and children, often seen merely as beneficiaries of stolen power, were to be scrutinized, their assets frozen, their lives examined for complicity. This was the opening salvo in the quiet administrative war that followed the firing lines. Yet, even in these early days, the sheer scale of human wreckage began to muddy the waters of simple judgment. The reports landing on Newman's desk told a story far more intricate than the black-and-white directive suggested. Fromm, General Friedrich Fromm, was not found amongst the vanquished at Nuremberg. He had been executed not by the Allies, but by the Nazis themselves, just weeks before the Reich crumbled. A detail that would soon unravel much more than just one family's fate. But what truly distinguished the Fromm case, what pulled at the threads of Newman's initial certainty, was the brutal aftermath. The first reports about the Fromm family painted a grim picture. His wife, Anna, and their children had been swept up in the Nazi terror known as Sippenhaft. Kin liability. Arrested, imprisoned, their property confiscated. This was not the fate of a family protected by the regime. This was the brutal hand of its arbitrary justice. According to the earliest intelligence briefings, these were victims caught in the Gestapo's web of vengeance. It introduced a chilling element of confusion, challenging the neat categories of good and evil. The deeper Newman's team delved, the more the complexity of Friedrich Fromm's story emerged, shedding a disquieting light on his family's post-war struggle. Fromm wasn't a clear-cut resistance hero, nor a simple Nazi loyalist. He had known of the 20 July plot, the attempt on Hitler's life in 1944. When the coup failed, he acted decisively, perhaps opportunistically, ordering the execution of the key conspirators in his own headquarters, including Stauffenberg himself. Yet, despite this brutal act, Himmler and the Gestapo had found him wanting, executing him in March 1945 for alleged cowardice and dereliction of duty. He was caught between two fires, damned by both sides. This profound ambiguity, unearthed through interrogations and decrypted Nazi records, made the task of post-war justice profoundly difficult. For Anna Fromm and her children, the ramifications were immediate and devastating. Released from Sippenhaft, only after Germany's unconditional surrender, they found themselves not in a position of immediate victimhood, but in a moral and legal purgatory. Their name, Fromm, now carried a dual stigma, associated with a high-ranking officer of the regime, yet also with a man executed for alleged disloyalty to Hitler. The meticulous records of the U.S. military government's Property Control Unit, which Newman's office oversaw, detailed the family's destitution. Their home and possessions had been seized by the Nazis, leaving them with nothing in a nation shattered to rubble. How could one assign blame or even administer aid when the lines were so profoundly blurred? As the autumn of 1945 gave way to winter and the first German self-administration began to take shape, The plight of the Fromm family became a stark illustration of Germany's post-war moral quagmire. The initial Allied policy, aimed at eradicating every trace of Nazism, was clashing with the nuanced human reality on the ground. Anna Fromm, like many widows and children of the executed 20th of July conspirators, sought official recognition as victims. But the very nature of her husband's controversial actions made it a long, uphill battle. Documents from the nascent German denazification courts, reviewed by Newman's staff, reveal the hesitation, the reluctance to fully rehabilitate a name so tarnished by both sides. Yet, in their quiet persistence, in their efforts to simply survive and rebuild amidst widespread ruin, a new perception began to take root within the Allied administration. It wasn't about Fromm's contested legacy anymore. It was about the resilience of his family. Official correspondence within the military government archives shows a shift in tone. They were no longer viewed as mere remnants of the old guard, but as survivors of a double tragedy: Nazi persecution and the subsequent social ostracization. The sheer grit required to navigate post-war society, stripped of everything, yet striving for a modicum of normalcy, earned a quiet, grudging respect. It was a respect for the human spirit, enduring even in the shadow of so much loss. The struggle for recognition and restitution for the Fromm family stretched on for years, well into the 1950s. The burgeoning West German state grappled with its own identity, seeking to honor genuine resistance while navigating the complexities of those who straddled the fence. For Anna Fromm, the WWII fight for her husband's posthumous reputation and for her family's economic security was a testament to a dignity hard-won through unimaginable suffering. The official records confirm legal battles over property, pensions, and the right to carry the family name without pervasive stigma. Colonel Newman, reflecting on the myriad cases like the Fromm family's, would later describe the deep, unsettling awe that settled over him. It was an awe born not of admiration for a military foe, but of the moral abyss into which an entire nation had descended, and the labyrinthine path back to any semblance of justice. The Fromm family's fate, from Sippenhaft, Schierenei, to the bureaucratic maze of post-war Germany, served as a chilling reminder of the enduring human cost. It was a fear of forgetting, of simplifying, of ever again allowing a society to become so consumed by ideology that the individual truth, the personal suffering, could be so utterly annihilated. Their survival was not a victory in battle, but a quiet, profound testament to the human spirit's refusal to be erased, leaving a legacy far more complex than any initial judgment could ever comprehend.